What's going on, everybody? Cheers. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the With Her Two Hands podcast, where each week we celebrate the women who build, fix, and make the things that make the world go round with her own two hands. I am your host, Bogi, and I am really excited tonight about tonight's guest. We talked a little bit offline before going live, and I can tell this is going to be a good one, guys. So quickly, I want to thank you all for coming back week after week to meet these incredible women. For those of you who are new here, welcome. This series is really about shining a light on some folks who often don't get a light shown on them. Women make up by far the minority of trades folks across the trades. We're less than 10%. In some trades, we are less than 2%. So not a heck of a lot, but even with such small percentages, there are tons and tons and tons of amazing women kicking butt every day out in the field, doing all of the crucial things that make our world go round, and they deserve to get their praises sung every once in a while. And this is all in hopes of helping, normalize the whole idea of women in the trades. So that next time you're out in the world and you see a woman working in the trades, or if you work in the trades and you come across a female colleague or a woman applies for a job with you, that this feels totally normal to you, and that one day there's no need for podcasts like this and we're all just trades folks and it doesn't matter. So thank you all for being a part of that journey and helping make that happen. And without further ado, I'm going to stop blabbing and bring on tonight's guest, Miss Danielle Browne. Hello, aka Twig.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm a wee bit sleepy, but you know what? I think we'll push through that one.
Well, it is late for you, so I appreciate you being willing to do this.
I wouldn't miss it.
So you're tired. I'm trying not to die. I apologize in advance, y'all. I'm fighting a cold. I'm going to really try not to die here.
We're really setting them up for a win on this one.
I know, right? But it's going to be a good one, I promise.
I feel great about it.
As long as I don't die. Okay, so I'm particularly excited, guys, about talking with Danielle because I took a sneak listen to one of the podcasts that she was on recently with somebody else, and it was all about mental health, and that is like a topic that I think is 100% not talked about enough in our trades, and so it's something I definitely want to talk about. Also, you have a past as in automotive, so we've got like all sorts of stuff to talk about. This is gonna be jam-packed, guys, so definitely stay on till the end. But first, I gotta ask, your nickname is Twig?
It's Twig, yep.
Okay, where does that come from?
Like the stick.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up playing rugby. I started playing rugby at 10 years old.
Okay.
And I got to the high school level, and I had hit a growth spurt where I went up, but I didn't go out. And my nickname rapidly became Twiggy. So
Okay.
that kind of just stuck. And there was a point in my life where rugby was my life. And it's so big in Newfoundland that kind of everybody just called me Twig. And now at 39, I'm still Twig.
All right. Fair. Do you respond when people call you Danielle?
I do, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
I've gotten to the point now where I'm older and I feel a little bit weird saying that I'm Twig. So I give people the option. People say, "Oh, this is my friend Twig," or Twig, and I'll go, or Danielle, and they go, "No, Twig's good." I think people just like it better.
I love it. I've been going by my nickname for so long now that, like, because Bogi isn't my given name. It was given to me, but not by my parents. I know, right? But it's so funny because now when people use my real name, I don't even respond. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like my mom
Sarah?
doesn't even call me by my real name. Who's that?
My parents call me Twig. It's
I love it.
I know. Some nicknames are just great. Like yours is so good. I was reading up on like where yours came from, and it's so cute.
It just fits, and so it's got to stay.
Yeah, it flows. It's good.
Yeah,
it's too late to change it now.
Exactly. Okay, so how did you go from a life of sports to the trades? Is rugby, like, can you do rugby professionally? Is that, I'm not really big up on the sport balls, so
fair enough. Yeah, understand. So as a woman, you really can't do it professionally right now. I mean, over in Europe, you could probably make a career out of it. It would be it would be a one in, you know, in a large pile who makes it into a profession, and it would probably be a coaching profession if I'm going to be honest.
Got
But
it.
no, yeah, it's I've like what I look like now is what I've always looked like, except for I had
Okay.
a mushroom cut and Ninja Turtle clothes. But
All right.
I was always this person. I always played sports. I always wanted tools in my hands. There's a picture of me at 8 years old dressed up as a plumber.
Nice.
So I clearly aimed high on that one. Um,
I don't see
and
anything wrong with that at
no,
all.
no, I mean, I don't either. But yeah, I went into high school and kind of had that pressure of like, okay, well, now what? Because I can't be a professional rugby player, you know?
Right.
So I got out of high school and I have two great parents who basically were like, hey, listen, if university is not for you, work and then you'll find out what to do. So I happened to get a job at a garage stocking the shelves.
Okay.
And the owner of the garage like looked at me and he's, a week into it and was like, you belong in the garage. And it had never dawned on me. And
Interesting.
yeah, and this was 2003, year
That's kind
2003.
of impressive.
Especially for this island. But Terry, who was my boss at the time, he didn't see that I was just this like female. He just saw me and was like, no, you belong on the tools. You get in the garage. And
Interesting.
and it was fantastic. And it was a massive curve to where I saw myself. It just opened up this door of like I'm allowed to do this. Like this is something I can do. And then I was in that for a bit, like 4 or 5 years. Never really made a go of it. Loved it, but knew that that wasn't the trade I wanted. Knew I was going to stay on the tools, but it
Okay.
wasn't the trade I wanted. I wanted something mechanical. I wanted to get my hands dirty. And I just thought, you know what? I fixed my dad's toilet when I was 16. I'll just go do that. And it's quite literally that simple.
And the rest is history.
And now I'm here on your show. Yeah,
Amazing. I feel like there was a lot more to it than
there
that,
was
but
a lot more to it, but I will say, I think I was so meant to be in the trades that it kind of did just flow like that. With,
yeah,
you had to have your hiccups and your bumps and your bruises, but they just kind of,
sure.
make you more interesting.
Absolutely. Okay, so I have to ask, like, when you were a kid and you were dressing up as a plumber for Halloween and like always thought that like you were always interested in tools, were you exposed to tools a lot? Was that something like how where did that come
I
from
don't,
in your
I,
little kid brain?
I don't know. So I'm the only tradesperson to come from my family.
Okay.
My parents were both in the academic field. My dad's a writer. My mom was a
Okay.
teacher.
Okay.
And I just grew up completely different than my family, ADHD, neurodivergent. I learned with my hands. I couldn't pick up a book. And, my mom was frustrated trying to teach me. My dad was
Mm,
frustrated because I didn't learn like they did.
mm,
Um, and I grew up in a way thinking that I was unintelligent, but also, you know, fixing my own TV when I was 13. So,
yeah.
I was highly intelligent in this one realm,
Yeah.
but struggling in this other world that was the predominant world. In my little life, it was all about school and reading and arithmetic, and you
Right.
know, and so I really didn't, know what I was truly capable of until I was exposed to the trades. But if you look back at me as a child, you're like, this is what she was meant to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you bringing all of that up. I have a similar somewhat background. My parents don't know where I came from either, and it's an interesting sort of thing. I think the just the challenges of parenting children and like there's so many different types of intelligence And you said you've got amazing parents. I've got amazing parents. Fortunately, like I've been very lucky to have such supportive parents, but not everybody has that opportunity. Um, and a kid growing up who has this different type of intelligence very easily could never get exposed to this and never find out, like, holy crap, I am really smart, just in a different way. And it's so sad to me. It's so sad that our school system does that to kids.
I think about it so often about how many children have ceilings put over their heads, how many truly brilliant children
Yeah.
who could just completely change the world if these ceilings were removed and said, hey, this is what you're good at.
Yeah.
Let's focus on this,
Yeah.
you know? And it's kind of wild that in today's day, we know the difference, but to change an entire school system, I mean,
Right.
yeah, what an
Right.
uproar.
Right, absolutely. And like I hope that it's changing over time, but it, like you said, it's like changing the whole system, and it's changing all the people in it too. Because, the people who are guiding our students are mostly of an older generation and are still stuck on some older mindsets that like trades are less than career paths, or, you know,
Well, you think about it, they are the academics. They are
right.
the ones who could read the books and study no problem, you know?
Right.
So for them to look at us and say like, "You should be a plumber, you should be a mechanic," they're stepping outside of their realm,
Right. And
you
they don't
know?
know. They're unfamiliar with these career paths. They don't know how successful people can be in them, which is all the more
No.
reason why we need more tradespeople going to like school board meetings and getting involved. We need it.
We need it. We need government funding for shop classes,
Yes.
and we need mentorship programs and apprenticeship programs. We
Oh my
need it. We
gosh.
need to build this world back up.
So desperately. So desperately. Our world is in crisis and people have no idea. No idea. The average person does not have any clue how quickly this world comes to a screaming halt when we don't have tradespeople.
Uh, turn off the power, turn off the
Right.
water.
Turn off the food. Like
We
you get
we
nothing.
we we become feral. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, do we need doctors? Absolutely, but they need a
totally.
hospital. Who's gonna build it?
Exactly. Yeah, I had somebody argue with me once that brain surgeons are way more valuable to our society than plumbers. And I was like, I'm going to disagree with you because brain surgeon can't do his job if he can't wash his hands in running water.
This is the thing is, you look at societies, you look at major places in the world with these large populations and no working plumbing, and look at their death rates, you know? Plumbing, uh introducing plumbing to societies have skyrocket the life
Yeah.
expectancy,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so we
You're
went deep
welcome,
here.
society.
I know, right? You're welcome. It's just so sad that like society as a whole is not going to realize the need until it's too late, right? Like we are seeing, I feel like we're seeing a little bit of a comeback towards like people supporting the trades and kind of an ebb and flow there with people's mindsets, but it's too little too late, I feel like, because we have such a shortage of tradespeople and we're so in crisis already, and it's going to be too late by the time people are like, oh hey, we should maybe encourage our kids to, these are great career paths.
It's to me, it looks dire. I'm seeing more talk and more, people who are celebrating the trades,
Yeah.
but then I look at the people applying to the trades and I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely dire. Okay, so this is about celebrating the trades and hopefully
agree.
getting some more folks in. So tell me what, okay, you're in the automotive, you know that it's not your thing. I won't take that personally since I'm a car girl, but but I get it. It's cool. So plumbing, you remembered fixing your dad's toilet, you said, right?
Yeah.
What is it about that stuck with you enough that said, like, I really enjoyed that. I want to make a career out of that.
I honestly, I really do think it is just type of brain I have, that neurodivergent. I see a problem, I see water leaking, I see sewage held up, and I can see how to fix it, and I can see the results as I'm working, as I'm fixing it. And then when I'm done, there's this physical fix that I did. And with plumbing, there's so many working parts, just like mechanics, just like millwright, that there's so many different diagnostics to be done. Your mind is just always going. There's always somewhere for your brain to be, well, it could be this, it could be this. I'm going to fix this. And now I got to fix this because this was, and you're all over the place. And with my brain, that's my happy place.
Yeah.
So
why did you not like cars?
It was more so and I'll admit it,
Be honest.
I'm a wuss. Like when it comes to waste, human waste, get me in there. That's amazing. But when it comes to a slushy tire, a slushy undercarriage, dripping on my head and down my neck.
Okay, fair.
Winter as a mechanic.
Yeah, you have winter. That's right. I forget about that.
We have a slushy, dirty, horrible winter. It lasts 13 months of the year, 37 months of the year. It is winter here. And honestly, just like getting in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Salty.
That's fair.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
Somebody runs over a bird and they're like, hey, can you change my tire? And you're like, oh, so sensitive. I don't know if I can do it. But and you know what? I will say that, like, as a plumber, you are a hero. When you walk into somebody's home and they've got a clogged sewer and you fix that, they're like, they don't care that you're covered. They're hugging you.
Yeah.
When you give them hot water in the shower, oh, thank you. You fix somebody's car and they're saying, give me the part. Prove to me. Prove it to me that it was broken. Yeah.
So true.
You guys have always in history have had to fight to prove that you're honest. And people will literally phone me and be like, I'll pay you anything, just come over.
You're so right. It's not fair.
It's really not fair. And I'll be the first one to admit it. I am not tough enough to be a mechanic.
That's amazing. I don't blame you with the snow, though. I left New York for that reason, because there is nothing worse than road salt and snow dripping down your armpit. It's just,
and your hands just don't work
as
good. And then you get a little knock and it hurts more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Forget it.
100%.
You can have that.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. So you decide you want to go into plumbing. What did that look like? What were the first steps? How did you make the transition?
Yeah. So in Newfoundland, we go to a pre-employment school first. So pre-apprenticeship. It's a 9-month course. So basically, I was talking to my friend while I was in the garage one day, and he was like, if you want to join a different trade, just go get one of those trades books, and then you can fill it out, pass it in, and they'll contact you when there's an opening.
Oh.
So I walked in there and I got the book, and they said, oh, what do you want to do? And I said, I'd like to be a plumber. And they're like, oh, we got a course opening up in next month.
Oh.
And it was, like I said, it was just flowing, right? It was wild. So 100%. So I did my 9-month course. I loved it. I was enthralled into it. We did our hands-on, my teacher, Tony Snow, he was really funny, like old Newfoundlander. He used to like kind of creep around you. What are you at, boys? Well, you're doing some soldering, are you, boys? Good job. And then he'd disappear for 3 hours, So you come out of school, you really didn't know anything, but but you were then an apprentice, right? So
okay, amazing.
Yeah,
this does not sound like you're getting set up for success here.
I agree, and I felt that way too. I was terrified. So we have this, as you know, the apprentices Canadian. We go up against each other. What's it called? Trades competitions.
Okay, yeah, like
yeah.
It's like
So we
Skills
had
USA, but they have the version in
yes,
Canada.
so
Yeah.
Skills Canada. So in Newfoundland, we did Skills Canada, and
Okay.
I won out of, I know how, I don't know. I had Tony Snow was, taught me something, but I won. And from winning, I had a job interview. That was my
Amazing.
winning. Yeah. So actually, it was kind of funny because there was 3 of us in there, and they assumed that I would come in last, 3rd place. So the 3rd place prize was a pink T-shirt. I'm not kidding. I'm not
Are
kidding.
you?
The 3rd place prize was a pink T-shirt and like pink tool set, and the kind like the Home Depot kind that like when you see it, you just want to like light it on fire. The
Yes.
first place prize was a welding mask, was this like nice, beautiful flame resistant hoodie, size extra large. Of course, I had won first place, and my first
Amazing.
place prize was a pink T-shirt and this like little tool bag and some buttons and stuff. And the second place guy got a welding helmet. And
Amazing. And
yeah,
horrifying.
yeah, and that
Wow.
that was the time. That was it.
What year was this?
Oh man,
Ish?
when did I start?
I don't know.
Was yeah, 16 years ago. I
So
don't.
I can't math, but
I can't math either.
it
I'm just.
wasn't that I mean, that's not that long ago. Like,
It was not long
that's
ago.
still in like the 2000s, dang it. Like
Yeah, yeah. It was. Well, it was funny because I got my first job because of that, and I got to the construction site. That's where I started. I was a
Okay.
commercial plumber, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, hey buddy, come here." So I go over and he goes, "I don't want to talk to you. Get me your boss." So my boss comes over, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired. I did something wrong." So I'm standing next to my boss, and this guy looks at my boss. I'm about a foot away, and he goes, "That young fella right there, is that a girl?"
Oh my God.
And I thought it was the funniest thing I'd heard. I mean, you can't make that up. And
You cannot make that up.
like,
Is
I
is
was like,
that a girl? That's amazing.
yeah, I said, that young fella, is that a girl? It's like, this is the best. I'm living in like Saturday Night Live material here. And so after a while, this guy got used to me. He said, "What's the difference," he said, "between a Yeti and a female plumber?" I said, "What?" He said, "There's been sightings of Yetis."
Oh,
So,
jeez.
so the humor here is very like, it seems harsh, but it's all in love. He was trying to, yeah. So that's been my intro, and it was very much foreshadowing for the rest of my career.
Yeah, no, it sounds about right. I'm curious, was it different on the automotive side? I mean, your first job on the automotive side, you got kind of like brought right in. Did you experience more of the sexism or the disbelief or either because there's different levels of sexism, right? Like we know that there's like more innocuous and then there's really egregious. Like did of all of the different kinds, did you experience more of it in plumbing than you did in automotive or vice versa?
If I was to break it down into like a time period, so the amount of time that I worked in automotive, eh, comparison to the amount of time I worked in plumbing, I would say that in automotive, the type of sexism I ran into was, I don't want her working on my truck. I don't want her driving my car. Or
Okay.
when is the man going to fix it? Do you know what I mean? Or did the
Mhm.
man look it over?
Right.
Whereas in plumbing, I found it to be more so the guys thinking, "Oh, that's too heavy. Let me get that for you." And it wasn't as harsh as I would say as the what I received on the mechanics end of it.
Interesting. More of
Yeah,
like a chivalrous version of
it was
sexism.
definitely a protective,
Mhm.
and which I had to learn to accept it and to not be defensive over and to see it as it was, which was,
Right.
just a bunch of guys who are seeing this little girl, because I am quite small, um, and not wanting me to get hurt, you know? Probably thinking I wasn't going to make it, but doesn't want me, they don't want me to die in the meantime, you know?
It's nice
So
of
it,
them.
yeah, thank you, Patty.
We want you to have a nice pink shirt, and we don't want you to die. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, I can't get over the fact that they predetermined that you were gonna come in last and
I
picked out your
know.
prize for you, and then still gave it to you even though you came in first.
I was like standing there, like, and I hadn't
I can't get
at
over it.
that stage learned to stick up for myself. So I was like, am I being punked? Like, what is, and you can tell people were like,
Yeah. So crazy.
she won't be able
So
to weld anyways.
oh my god. Oh my god. Craziness. So you had said something in your kind of our pre-conversation about being really passionate about treating your apprentices well. And that leads me to think
Absolutely.
that maybe you had some experiences where you weren't treated well. Am I correct there?
I've had some really interesting experiences where my patience were certainly tested. Uh, when it came to boundaries that I had to set with certain journeymen. Yeah, definitely. Now I've heard some horror stories over the years, and I wouldn't even compare them to the stories that I've heard on the darker end. But yeah, I definitely had a lot of guys see me and say, "She's not going to last, and I'm going to be the one to prove it."
Breaker.
Yeah. So I had a lot of guys try to break me. Um, and for the most part, they got sick of it. They got sick of themselves. They were like, all right, it's not gonna work. But yeah, I'm
That's
I'm
interesting.
yeah, I'm really passionate about like apprenticeships and apprentices and young tradespeople and just treating them right and guiding them.
Have you been fortunate to have any good mentors throughout?
Absolutely. Actually, one of my first journeymen, I introduced him to my sister. He's my brother-in-law now.
Oh, I
So
love it. So
yeah,
clearly he was a good man. All right,
he was a
awesome.
he was a good man. He still is, even though he drives me nuts. He's a good man. But I've had more good than bad.
That's
And
awesome.
I think that really speaks for Newfoundland, the island itself, because we do have really good men here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it that makes a good mentor or good what's it called? You're the apprentice, they're the I mean, is it just called a mentor or
Journeyman,
is
journey
there
person.
journeyman? Okay. So
Yeah.
so what makes a good journey person as far as mentorship goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things, but I think more so the ability to properly communicate in different ways because people learn differently. And with that comes a lot of patience on your end. So you have to learn how to become a teacher because you might be great with the tools, but all of a sudden you've got this kid looking up to you. You have no idea how they learn. You have no idea how to teach. So being able to step outside yourself and outside your ego and you know look at this kid and see what's best for them and you can ask them, hey, like how is it that you learn? How can I teach you in a way that you're going to hear me? I know one thing that doesn't work: yelling, demeaning, name calling, ignoring. They don't work.
No.
you know? And it makes my life a whole lot easier when the kid I'm working with is excited to work with me, you know?
It drives me nuts that that is still like the default um teaching style and mindset and that our work environment has to be harsh and hard and I came by my skills the hard way and so you're going to learn them the hard way too and that I've heard mentors say like part of my job is to toughen them up and or maybe we create an environment where you don't have to be so tough just to go to work and do your job every day. Um,
Yeah,
and
the
that
thing
ties
is
into our
that
other conversation, mental health, right?
right. The thing is that the world is tough enough. The trades are also tough. Working with your hands and diagnosing and you know, engineering out dangers. These things are tough, right? Like I say to my apprentice now, Lindsay, she's fantastic. She's young. She doesn't like sticking up for herself. You know, she's about 3 times the size as me, but she's a mouse of a person. And I don't need to yell at her to toughen her up. I can guide her to toughen her up. I can teach her and show her through myself how to stand up for yourself. Um, Through communication, say, hey, like next time somebody talks to you this way, you should try setting a boundary, try standing up for yourself, try being more vocal about your, you know, beliefs or needs or the way you see this job going. You know, part of their apprenticeship is actually like showing them how to be an adult.
Amen to that. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. I think that gets forgotten a lot in a lot of across the trades and probably across most jobs, like not outside of the trades too. Like when you are raising up a mentee, you are teaching them how to adult too.
Yeah, it's you're getting a kid, like, you know, and you're
Yeah,
seeing them more than their parents are,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. That's a fantastic point, and I love that you have a female apprentice.
Yeah, she's actually my third female apprentice.
That is that by choice?
No, no, I don't get to pick my apprentices, so I do have a HR system that gets to hire and everybody for me,
Okay.
and I've had many apprentices in, you know, the last 9 years of being a certified plumber, and 3 of them happen to be
I
female
love it.
plumbers.
So
Yeah,
did
now,
they
sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, Newfoundland does have a high female apprenticeship program. So we do
Really?
have a lot. Yeah, we do have a you know, considerable amount of women in the trades per capita in comparison to the rest of the country.
Nice. I have questions.
Yeah.
So many questions. Well, first, real quick, did they give you the female apprentices intentionally, or did they give other people the female apprentices too?
No, so I happen to just get the apprentices because I tend to be the one with the most patience out of the guys that I
Okay.
work with. Yeah, so male,
Okay.
female, if there's a new apprentice, they usually
You
come
get
with
all of
me
them. Okay.
until they get to a certain point, and then
Fair
yeah,
enough. You're
yeah.
mama bear. All right,
I
got
am
it.
mama bear, yeah. And I say that to them. I'm like, "You want mom to help you?"
No.
Yeah.
So, do you have a theory as to why there is such a high percentage of women in the trades where you're at?
Yeah, well, we're a fishing island, we're a fishing community, and I think you see a lot of, you know, islanders around the world. When the men would go out and do the fishing, things still had to be done on the island. You know, the
Mm,
home still had to be taken care of. The kids had to be taken care of. The land had to be taken care of. Property, the animals had to be, you know, on the farms had to be fed. So our tradition and our heritage on this island is working communities. It's not the man works and the woman stays at home and takes care of the family. Yeah, the woman takes care of the family, but she took care of everything else too. You know, the men went out and fished for sure, and I'm sure
yeah,
they had a great time on the boat, but the women were putting in work. I
yeah.
would say the women's hands were tougher than the men's, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, you get to these older guys on this island, and they just want you to prove that you're as strong as their mom.
That might be my favorite statement ever. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either. It's the first time I've said it, but I really like it, and it's true.
I feel like that needs to be a sticker. That's fantastic. I love it. That's got to be interesting. So that like that totally throws a wrench in like all of my like assumptions about what experiences are as a woman in these trades. Like for you, it was a little different. I mean, you still experience some of the sexism, obviously. Excuse me, but it had a little different tone to it.
Oh, 100%. Like a lot of it, like I said, did come from a point of we want to see what you can do. We want to see if we can break you, but also we desperately want none of those things to
To
be
actually break you.
exactly. We would love the guys wanted more than anything for me to prove them wrong. They were,
That's awesome.
you know, yeah, it's a generational thing of, like you said, this idea of I have to treat you this way because that's the way I was treated and that's the way they were treated. But when it comes in with they're softies, they're kittens over here, you know, and they'll come up to you after and you're, who's my girl? You're my girl, and if anybody picks on you, you send them to me, you know. And they got my, you know, hacksaw got 3 teeth and they got 4. You know? So it's an interesting thing, but I definitely have a different story than a lot of people I know.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's fascinating. Very cool. So let's talk mental health,
Yes.
because I think that ties in with this, like this old school mindset that I think permeates the trades everywhere, even though it may have different forms and different shapes that it takes in different places, it still permeates. Um, talk to me about mental health, why you're so passionate about it.
Yeah. Thank you, first of all. I love the chance to make this normal, you know. 8 years
Mm.
ago, my best friend Crystal, who was a brilliant carpenter, a brilliant person, and a very quiet person, suicided. And I didn't know what depression was until that experience, that day, and the years after. And that kind of took depression and mental illness and it rubbed it in my face in the worst way possible. It threw my mental health out the window.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um, I didn't know who to talk to about it. Nobody taught me how to talk about it. Nobody taught me that this could ever even be a thing. Um, and it wasn't until, you know, I had a long stint afterwards of drinking, doing anything to not feel it, that I had a friend reach out to me and basically kind of shake me and say, like, that's enough. That's enough now. You're not doing good. You don't look good. She wouldn't want this. Um, Go see somebody. So I went to therapy. And it was everything in me to not go to therapy. I desperately did not want to do it. I made excuses. I would go to one and I would never see them again. And then I would go to another. And it wasn't until I found the right therapist that it really took what I was feeling that I didn't know how to put words to it. And she said, put words to it and take the words and tell people
Mm.
and make this your route of how to navigate mental health in the trades, because I just kept watching my friends die and nobody was telling me about it, you know. That's the thing, is we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's your people who are smiling and laughing with you the day before.
100%. I want to thank you so much for being willing to share that story, and I'm so grateful for your friend that was willing to take you and shake you, and the perseverance to keep going to different therapists, because I think you're absolutely right. Like, that is a thing that happens where, like, okay, that wasn't the right therapist for me. See, this sucks. And I think particularly with tradespeople who are brought up to be resistant to this idea of accepting help, if that first person isn't right for them, they're like, see, this is BS, right?
100%, you nailed it. I was that way. It's this idea of finally giving in to vulnerability and then feeling so stupid for allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And that's part of it. That's part of the beating ourselves up, the, you know, this cycle of abuse that occurs with people in the trades who can't talk, who don't find a safe friend to speak about, when we're all desperate for a safe buddy to talk to, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, a woman I had on a couple of months ago, she said her line was great. She said, "Hurt people hurt people." And that is our industry. Like the trades is so full of, I don't think it's our world in general, but I think the trades particularly is so full of people who are hurt, who don't have words for that hurt, who then, well, I'm hurting, so you're gonna hurt. And it was beaten into me, so I'm gonna beat it into you. And it just keeps on generationally passing that torch of hazing the new kid and treating them poorly. And like you said, we're all a bunch of like pussies underneath it all. Like you're the mama bear. I was totally the mama at my shop when I was, working at the dealership. And it was the same thing. It was like these guys would rib each other and be so mean to each other. And then independently, alone, they would confide in me. And it's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, we're all feeling the same things.
Like, I'm sure we could sit down and just have so many comparable stories about the mama bear saga of watching 4 men just scream at each other, and then the next 4 consecutive days you're giving each of these men a hug because they just
Yes.
really fucking need it.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't have anybody. They can't, they don't feel like they can talk to their partners. They don't feel like they can talk to their fathers or their mothers. They don't, it's that raising these kids into, don't cry, toughen up, you know? And you're teaching these kids how to not feel. And it's so against nature that when they get to adulthood, when all the stresses actually come on, the only way they actually know how to communicate their feelings is through anger. And it's not fair, because it's not where it's coming from. It's not coming from a place of anger.
100%. Yeah. I feel like anger is never the cause, it's the symptom.
100%.
And
100%.
it is the only language that seems to be accepted. It's the only emotion that seems to be accepted amongst men, particularly in the trade. I feel like we've evolved a little bit in our society as a whole, where men are allowed to express some other emotions besides anger. But in the trades, it is still a dominant what's accepted.
100%. When it comes to, the guys that I speak to and who are also really excited to talk mental health and to help each other out, there's that vulnerability of putting themselves out on social media. And social media is also a really dark place. I say it all the time, people go to the comment sections instead of therapy. And it's very evident when you do become vulnerable online and on these posts. You look at the comment sections and the things that you're called because you're saying people, hey, listen, I care about you and you want to talk to me, I'm going to be here for you, because sometimes you're going to be there for me and I'm going to need that too. Now, the majority of people, they might not comment on it, but they're liking it, because I'll tell you, my mental health posts will get 10 times the amount of action than my tool posts, because everybody feels it.
I so agree. I so agree. I have struggled. People are always surprised by this because, like you said, it's the smiley, laughy face, and the people laughing with you and happy that are the ones struggling with it. Like I've struggled here and there with depression throughout the years, and people are always kind of like shocked by it. And I've spoken with several friends who also I was surprised to find out that they experienced it. I think the biggest thing that always drove me so crazy was like, my God, the biggest thing about depression is that you feel isolated and alone. And if all of these people who are struggling with depression talk to each other, they wouldn't feel isolated and alone, which takes away the main symptom of depression, right? Like just knowing that other people experience it too is life-changing.
It's honestly like that connective tissue that we're all missing, that social media is like, look how good my life is, look how fantastic my life is. But I can also look at you and go, look how fantastic my life is. Okay, but don't look too long because at 2 o'clock I've got therapy. And then I come back out and I'm like, man, that was a really good session. But anyways, here's the new drill from Milwaukee. And guys go, wait, did she just make that normal? Yeah, because it's normal. It's normal, and it's what you should do, and it's what you should do, and it's our connective tissue, is our humanity, and just show it.
Yeah. Do
You
you
know,
feel like things are changing with this like newer, younger generation of tradespeople? And I'm including you and me, and that I think we're probably of similar age. You might be a little younger than me, but eh, our age and younger. Do you feel like things are shifting around mental health at all?
in my perspective, yes,
Okay.
100%. I talk to the young guys that are coming in, the young women who are coming in, all the tradespeople, and not only are they open to discussing mental health in general, they're open to discussing their mental health um, freely. You know, I've never been the type to pry something out of somebody, but I can also, because of, stepping aside and dropping my ego, I can now, like, I'll see people if they're having a bad day, and I've learned how to kind of not really coerce it out of them, but if make them comfortable enough that they know they can tell me. And it's not a chore to get somebody to really tell me how their day is going. And I see that now with this younger generation. And I think they are like growing up in this Bell Let's Talk movement where some people might think it's a sham, but it does do something. You know, it's
Yeah.
out there that, we're out here talking about it now, and some kid's going to see it and okay, that's normal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I think it is hopefully starting to change. I see more people talking about it, and that's huge. Do you think it's affecting the workplace? Is the older generation getting on board? Are they fighting it? Is the workplace changing?
They're fighting it as much as they can. They're fighting it like any other change in the trades. You know what I mean? All of a sudden this brand new tool comes out and you're not snapping your chin off putting a spring in, and this guy's going like, nah, I don't know, I don't trust it. I'd
Right.
rather
Or these
lean
kids
my,
these days have it too
yeah.
easy.
These kids these days have strong jaws. Back in my day, we used to get ours ripped off us and get medevac to the hospital and be at work the next day. And you're just
Oh,
like,
the
that's
good old
cool.
days. The
Yeah, the
good
good
old
old
days.
days when you needed 3 blood transfusion while at work. And you're like, that doesn't sound fun at all. But yeah, they're starting to see it now, right? Like I remember first starting to be like, I've never had taken a sick day in my life. And you're like, cool. So you just come in making everybody sick. Sounds like a
Right?
jerk move, Charlie. And now they're like, I was gonna call in, I was gonna come into work, but I didn't want to make you guys sick because you got kids at home. And you're like,
Oh.
but you have to thank them, right?
Right.
It's this
You gotta feed
positive
that
reinforcement. You know what I mean?
100%. It's like training dogs. I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying. They love that. They eat it up.
here's a Scooby snack. Good job.
Exactly. Right? And they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this caring about people is kind of cool.
It's so fascinating to me. There's like so much talk about this, like the younger generation being soft and they don't want to work hard and they don't want to this and they don't want to that. And I'm like, I feel like it's just that a lot of the younger generation is like, I don't want to work in a shitty environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I have higher standards for myself and
Yes.
I'm gonna demand that. And a lot of the
Yeah.
trades in general is like, "Nah, this is bullshit."
Yes. That's it. You just nailed it. End the podcast. That's it. They literally kids are growing up and they're saying, no, I want a fair working wage. I want to come home safe at the end of the day. And I want
Yeah.
to know that at the end of this career, I'm going to be able to retire. And I don't think that those
Yeah.
things are terrible things to want
No,
in
no,
North
these are
America.
not horrible things. I want a safe work environment. I want to be
Yeah,
respected. I want to be treated
yeah,
well. I would like to have some sick days because I don't want to die when I'm 50.
yeah, they're
Like,
not these kids aren't wusses, they're
no,
intelligent.
they have better boundaries.
They have boundaries, like, God forbid these kids are like, "I don't wanna die today." We're like, "What a wuss. You'll never survive." What do you mean? That's the point.
Right? I know. It's so crazy to me. Like it's the like you're not tough enough because you're not using these horrible tools that could have killed you, right? Or like I remember posting a video where we were dancing while working on a car and this like old guy was like if that was my shop, that would you wouldn't have time to play around like that. I'm like, "Oh, heaven forbid we enjoy working."
For real though.
What a
Actually,
concept.
people are like, I wonder why, the depression rates in the trades are so high, right? They used to say to me like, "Don't let me catch you smiling." What?
Right.
What do you
If you're
mean?
having fun, you must not have enough work. That's
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
oh,
it's
jeez.
it's been a wild ride.
But there's hope. Things are
There is
changing.
hope. I fully believe it. Yeah.
I love it. And I so love that you've made this trauma in your life and this like horrible thing that happened, which I'm so sorry that you had to experience that, but that you've made it into something so positive and like a life mission to do something about. I think that's just incredibly beautiful.
Thank you. I think about Crystal every day, and now I get to talk about Crystal all the time, and people will like know about her. Like so many people now know about her than ever before. And I now get what she couldn't do, which is I get people I've never met and will probably never meet writing me saying, "Hey, you said on your post one time that if you're having a hard time, I can come talk to you."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." And I would have given anything for Crystal to have been able to do that.
Yeah.
But now I get these guys again who I'm never going to meet, but like I can just have a chat with them. They know that they matter. They know that they're always going to matter to me. And then I can say, "Hey, where do you live? Let's see if there's any resources available in your area." Because a lot of these guys don't know how to find these resources, you know? And I say guys, but I mean everybody, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and they come to me and they talk to me and they trust me, and it's the best gift that Crystal could ever have given to me.
I love it. Is there a future career path here for you when you retire from plumbing? Is there a tradesperson, coach, consultant, therapist, resource finder?
Yeah, I've thought about that. I'm pretty much a fly by the seat of my pants, but now that I'm gonna be 40, and I'm thinking like, you know, I would like for this to go somewhere different, and if it could be in a community outreach in the trades kind of scenario. I've definitely thought about it. It's crossed my mind, but like, I still love being on the tools. I still love
Yeah.
making dirty content. So yeah, yeah.
And by dirty, you mean actually dirty, not
Actually disgusting.
not
Like
like
sometimes,
X-rated dirty.
no, 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 no,
Just to
no,
be clear.
no, no. Let me tell you something. If I had an OnlyFans, they would shut down the site. 2 minutes into it, they would be like, "We've made a huge mistake." No, I will stick with the waste. People tend to love that content, so because
Yeah,
you everybody is people are weirdos. So like the grosser it is, people are like,
yes.
"I'm sending this to my nan," you know?
So bizarre. So I don't know how you do it. I am not into that. Like I can't.
Yeah, no, I would love to have an excuse, but I'm one of those weirdos. I love it. I love it.
Hey, it's to each their own. All the more power to you. I wish
Thank
you lived
you.
closer because ironically, I think the plumbing in my house heard that I was having a plumber on tonight because it decided to back up. All of the drains in my house are not draining right now.
Oh
It's
no.
awesome.
I probably know a plumber in your area, so just like hit me up, I'll get you a good one.
All right, awesome. Awesome. I'm definitely gonna need somebody.
Great. And not great, and I'm so sorry.
I know, right? I know. It's the universe has a
You
weird
better
sense
not
of humor.
jinx my truck.
No, no, no.
Good, I just had
I
to
do
rack
know
your
some
brain.
mechanics near you though, so
Okay, great.
we'll just do an exchange of skilled
Perfect.
labor here.
We'll just fly each other out like an exchange program.
Oh, I'm so game for that. I'm so
Perfect.
game.
Bring a shovel.
Deal. You come to Phoenix when it's winter because it's horribly cold there.
Yeah.
And then I
Phoenix?
will come to you in the summer when it's warmer.
I love this. I love this networking that
This is
we're
beautiful.
doing. Come on.
This is the gift of the internet. Like I hate social media for so many reasons, but I absolutely love it for this. Like this is phenomenal. I love it. And so many more people get to meet you and hear your story. And yeah, it's great.
Thank you for that. Actually, like this has been one of my favorite ones yet. Like this is
Oh, yay.
yeah, and we flow
Yay.
good.
Definitely. We are definitely going to connect more offline.
I would
But
love that.
we've used up almost all of our hour already. How did that happen?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all about the flow. We killed it.
Time flies when you're having fun. All right. So I have a final question that I have to ask you. This is the question that I love ending on, and that is if you had a chance to go back in time and speak to little baby Twig, little baby
Oh.
Danielle, what are your words of advice to her?
Wow. My words of advice to little baby Twig is eventually you're gonna find your confidence. So don't worry about it. You're gonna find it. Don't rush it. It's gonna get there. It's all gonna come together. Have patience and trust in yourself.
I love that. I love that.
And
Beautiful.
also lose the mushroom cut. It's insane. You look insane. Okay, that's it.
Both fantastic pieces of advice. Parents, do not give kids mushroom cuts.
Don't do it.
It's not a good look. Although, if your parents were anything like mine, I look back at pictures of myself as a kid and I'm like, Ma, how did you let me leave the house like this? And she's like, You picked that outfit. You insisted.
I didn't want to cut you off, but I was like, I picked the mushroom cut.
Right. Like, we insisted. And then we look back and we're like, What? Who let me go out the house like that?
Where were my friends? Oh, I didn't have any because I had a mushroom cut.
I love it. Amazing. You're fantastic. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for saying yes and joining me tonight. I feel like we could go on for hours. We're probably going to have you on again
We'll do it again. We'll run it back.
Yeah, I love it. All right. And folks at home, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed meeting Twig as much as I did. Make sure you go give her a follow, check out her social media, keep up with all of her good work, and make sure you come back next week to meet another incredible tradeswoman. And of course, every Monday, we have a archive episode that gets released. So make sure you tune in for those as well. Same time, same place, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. What else is there to report? I think that's it. Huge thank you to you all. Until next time, have a fantastic evening. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And we'll see you later. Bye, guys.
See you guys.